Okay, so some more operations on imaginary numbers and radicals. So the first thing I want to talk about is, remember how on the previous video notes I said that I is equal to the square root of -1? Okay, so what we want to do is we want to pull the I out. When there is a negative underneath the radical, that means there's a square root of -1 inside the radical. And so to pull the I out, or to convert it from a negative under a radical, you want to pull the I out. So this will actually be I radical 2 times 2 plus I radical 2. So the math behind that is this. When you have a negative under the radical, this is the same thing as the square root of -1 times the square root of 2. -1 times 2 is -2. And then we can convert that to an I, because I equals the square root of -1. So we can convert that to an I, and now we have a positive radical. Now every time you see a negative under a radical, you must pull the I out before you do any operations. So now what we would do is we would distribute. So we're going to have I radical 2 times 2, and we would write the number first, then the I, then the radical. That's the correct order. And then distribute to the next one. So here we would have I times I, which is I squared, and the square root of 2 times the square root of 2, which is the square root of 4. Then we go ahead and simplify this farther. This here is going to become -1. This here is going to be 2. So this ends up being -2. There's nothing to do here. So we're going to write the real part first, and then the imaginary part second, to make our complex number. Okay? So, those problems I had you not do in class yesterday, now you can do them. All right, moving on. So, simplifying a radical. Simplifying a radical. So when I use the word radical, we're talking about that symbol right there. Okay? So let's say we have the square root of negative, let's go with 24. Okay? So what's the first thing we need to do? Were you paying attention up here? Yeah, see the negative under here? We need to pull out the I. Very good, Reed. Good job. So we pull out the I, so we're going to have I radical 24. Then what we want to do next is we want to factor the 24. But what we're looking for in here is we're looking for perfect squares. Again, the perfect squares are 1, which we're not going to ever use, 4, 9, 16, 36, 49, and so on. So do any of these numbers go into 24 evenly? Well, 4 does. So we would factor that down to the square root of 4 times the square root of 6. 4 times 6 is 24. Here's your perfect square. The square root of 4 is 2. We write that first. Then we write the imaginary part. Then the irrational number goes last. And so the square root of negative 24 equals this. And that's how you simplify a radical. Now, what happens if we have, Let's do another example. Let's say we have I raised to the 60th power. Yeah, that's huge, right? And we're multiplying that times the square root of negative 32. Okay? So what we know is, we know that I to the 4th power is equal to 1. So what you should do is, you should see how many I to the 4ths are there in I to the 60th. So if you take 60 divided by 4, we go 1 time, bring down the 0, 4 goes into 15. So there's actually I to the 4th, 15 of them. 4 times 15 is 60. And we know that I to the 4th is 1 from our video notes from the other night. So this would be 1 to the 15th power, which is 1. So I to the 60th is 1. Now, so that just cancels out. Now we're going to take the I out. We're going to break this up into the square root of 16 times the square root of 2. The square root of 16 is 4, so 4 goes first, then the imaginary part, then the radical. Now what happens if we have an I and it's raised to some really, a number like 55? So again, 4 into 55, so it's going to be I to the 4th. How many of them? So 4, 1, 5, 4, 3 times 12. That leaves us with 3 left over. So actually we can take out 13 of these, and we'll have I to the 3rd left over. So 4 times 13 is 52. 52. 52 from 55 is 3. So that actually is just 1. And I to the 3rd power is negative I to the 3rd power is negative I. So I to the 55th power is equal to negative I. Okay? And one last example. Let's say we have the square root of 2 times the square root of negative 3. Let's make it negative 4. Let's make it negative 6, just for fun. Let's make it negative 6. So, always remember, don't jump ahead of the horse. Take the I out first. Now remember, when you take that I out, it changes to positive. Don't forget that. So we're multiplying, so we're going to have I radical 12. 2 times 6 is 12. Simplifying, we know that we could do the square root of 4 and the square root of 3. Square root of 4 is 2. Then the I, then the radical. See you guys in class. Hey guys, don't forget to take the quiz in Google Classroom. It's due on Friday. Thank you.